So the ending of Boruto, how it all wraps up, the final fight between Boruto Uzumaki and his surrogate brother Kawaki, the end of the infamous karma mark, how it's done, how it's wrapped up. Let's talk about it, because to be honest with you, I almost am certain on how at the very least the final battle is going to wrap up between Boruto and Kawaki, and how they will both rid themselves of the karma mark that is infested with the likes of the Otsutsuki clan once and for all. We gotta talk about this one because this is a big deal. This is basically one of the biggest things going on in the Boruto story since the introduction to the karma mark of how to get rid of it. Let's talk about it.
No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done.
Okay, so before we even get into the final battle, Boruto versus Kawaki, karma mark and all that stuff, we gotta get to an understanding and a foundation of what Boruto really is all about and how it started off, and what basically the idea of the story, one of the essence of it, has been from jump. And that's technology. Is technology good? Is it bad? What purpose does it have in our lives? And kind of the resistance from some people at the very least to technology and to the world evolving. One of the big things we've seen time and time again from the very beginning of the Boruto story is the advancement of the world, whether it be that city behind Konoha that for whatever reason we never explored up until this point. Hopefully at some point we do, whether it be, who knows, maybe the time skip could lead us. That would be a great place actually for the time skip to start off. Maybe Boruto or Kawaki, one or the other, gets sent off to that side of Konoha and, like, you know, they don't even know where they're at or something along the lines of that. That would be kind of crazy. But the town behind them, the technology that brought forth the ability of having a giant city behind a village hidden in the leaf, the artificial jutsu that were used in the Chunin exam where Boruto got caught cheating using these little, you know, basically capsules that had jutsu within them. Shin Uchiha, one of the big things that was kind of like a predecessor to the Boruto story, the one shot that was originally penned by the original creator Masashi Kishimoto. Shin Uchiha's body was somewhat, again, an artificial creation by Orochimaru. Takara having the cyborg slash artificial beings that are basically like humans or, you know, robots with kind of human elements to them. To Kawaki's DNA at this particular point being basically 80% rewritten due to the karma mark being on him, and basically it almost making it as if like he's not only human but he is whatever the karma mark is to begin with, which seems to be technology related. Because from what it seems like, everything that I've looked at thus far when it comes to karma, it seems like karma is just this really highly advanced technology, almost like mixing, you know, robotic parts, so to speak, with human beings just on another level, because again, this is alien technology. So just think about it for a second. Imagine these aliens, the Otsutsuki clan, they've evolved to a point where they're able to basically put code, like coding, you know, from like computers and whatnot, coding into human beings, and it all stems from a motherboard that starts in the palm of somebody's hand, again known as karma. But like any PC out there, what happens if the motherboard goes boom, boom, it's over. But again, we'll get to that in a little bit, because another element that you got to take into account, again, one of the big things, like I said, the tone of the story and everything is about technology, but another thing that was said well before Boruto even started off was the fact that Boruto was initially meant, and I've said this on numerous occasions, to be a reboot of the Naruto story, and somehow, some way, it got kind of morphed into a sequel, which is, you know, what Boruto is, a sequel spin-off with the kids from Naruto and them. But at the same time, it has still stayed somewhat to a certain degree almost as a reboot of Naruto. If you think about it, it has mirrored it down to the very beginning with that foreshadowing scene of two former BFFs, Boruto and Kawaki, going at each other's neck to the death in the final fight that is seemingly going to be at the end of Boruto, similar to Naruto versus Sasuke. The series freaking starts off screaming, hey, this is the new age Naruto and Sasuke with these two, and they have these marks on and all of that jazz. Like, it just shows you a lot of what is to come, especially again with the karma mark. That was one thing that was very prominent. Honestly, you could definitely throw the argument there that karma is one of the most important things of Boruto. And again, if karma is technology based, and the whole theme of the story is again accepting technology and at the same time its impact, how it can be good and it can be bad, we're seeing that right now. Karma is essentially the opposite side of the spectrum, where it's bad. It's basically this coding that is rewriting the personalities of the people. It's almost as if these Otsutsuki creatures have basically figured out how to rewrite personalities. So instead of having your personality, everything that they are, their brain, their soul, everything they've been through and whatnot is stored within that karma mark, and it slowly rewrites who you are going through, again, the palm of your hand, because we see every time they activate karma that it starts off in the palm and it starts spreading from the palm onward. Again, a little bit different, but kind of similar to how the curse mark, when Sasuke had it on his shoulder, it would start off at the shoulder and then it would slowly spread to his arm and things like that. So it's a little bit differently placed, but it's kind of the same idea, same concept. So going with the idea that, again, this whole reboot concept, right? And Boruto and Kawaki are representing Naruto and Sasuke. One of the big things we know that Naruto and Sasuke go through is ultimately that big climactic battle that we also basically see as being foreshadowed to happen between Boruto and Kawaki. And remember how Naruto and Sasuke's battle ended off in chapter, what was it, 698 if I'm not mistaken, their final bout, where they laid out right there and both of their arms are basically destroyed because they had that one final Rasengan versus Chidori battle that blew their limbs right off, and they were missing those two, but the blood trail between the two of their limbs formed kind of like a heart, and it was supposed to be a symbolic thing of basically representing that they were each other's right hand man to begin with. They were each other's ace in the hole. They were their best friends, so to speak, and it was kind of metaphoric and all that jazz. And what if Boruto and Kawaki are essentially going to go through something similar? Just think about it for a second. The motherboard being karma, being stored right here at the palm of each of their hands, kind of the same way Naruto and Sasuke had their limbs right there that they both lost. What if the whole idea and basically the ending of the Boruto Naruto Next Generation story in terms of the battle between Boruto and Kawaki and the way to get rid of karma is going to be that final clash, reminiscent of Naruto and Sasuke's final clash, where both of them are going to lose their limbs, losing their hands, that is ultimately going to get rid of the motherboard that is storing the karma mark to begin with. There's basically, what I'm saying is, no escape of just like removing karma and still remaining with those ligaments on for Boruto and Kawaki. Now, obviously, Kawaki doesn't have the karma mark yet, but somehow, some way, it's going to be restored, especially considering you have somebody like Amado that is kind of almost like a devil in the ear whispering to him. We know at some given point, Kawaki is going to get karma back, and it's possibly also due to that factor. What if the fact, because Kawaki, again, he took it off in a rare circumstance because of Ishiki Otsutsuki, and we obviously seen how it was taken off, but what if one of the only other ways to get rid of the karma mark is to blow off that limb? It's kind of like, think of even The Walking Dead. When you get bit by a zombie, a walker, one of the things they immediately do is cut off that limb so it doesn't spread any further. And if the whole idea is that the motherboard is what controls and slowly brings that data through their body, is stored right here, there's a possibility that Boruto could potentially even be almost entirely infused and momoshiki'd out, and still, as long as you get rid of that limb, it could possibly revert him back into being Boruto. Because again, if that's just like a motherboard, if that is just basically technology at a very, very high level, if you get rid of that big motherboard, the memory and all of that jazz, it would revert Boruto back to his being, unless it's completely rewritten. Like if you're rewriting a program, then maybe it wouldn't go, but as long as there's still enough of Boruto, I think if you get rid of the motherboard that is stored right here, the karma mark, it'll all be a-okay, and basically it'll be the end of the karma for Boruto and Kawaki on their bodies and taking over them. And going back to Amado, again, that could possibly be why he is so much pushing forth the idea to Kawaki of, yo, you need to get that karma mark. You know, you could help out in this, that, and the third. It's possibly because he knows that one of the many ideas that he may have, and one of the many things that he knows that we've seen, because he knows a lot for somebody that is just like some scientist. What if he knows that that's one of the major ways to get rid of it for both of them, but especially for Boruto, is that you need one karma to basically fry the other. So when they clash, it's going to be an explosion that, yeah, you're going to fry the motherboard, and at the same time, they're going to have to lose their ligaments, or maybe the losing the ligaments isn't even a part of it. Maybe initially the idea is just to fry the motherboard, and then they're going to lose the ligaments in the process anyway, kind of mirroring almost to a certain degree in an artistic way at that Naruto and Sasuke's clash, which would ultimately bring forth a lot of elements of the Boruto story. It would bring forth the whole reboot idea, the Naruto and Sasuke with Boruto and Kawaki representing that. It would bring forth their relationship and their friendship. It would bring forth mirroring them losing the limbs similar to Naruto and Sasuke, and it would also bring home the whole idea regarding technology. Is it good or is it bad, and what it can do? And basically, like, yeah, one of the lessons that we learned earlier in the Boruto story is that, like, using those artificial jutsus is okay if you do it in the right way. However, this technology that has been used, the karma mark, is not good. It's taking over, and they got to get rid of it. And basically, Boruto's best friend, Kawaki, that is almost like a brother to him, is going to be the one to do it. And personally, that's one of the major things of how I feel the Boruto Naruto Next Generation story is going to wrap up with the final fight between Boruto and Kawaki, because it just makes so much sense considering that karma is the biggest thing behind behind all of this. And let's not forget how karma is seemingly going to continue to advance, because let's just say if Kawaki didn't kill Naruto, which at this particular point, considering we've seen how much their relationship has developed and how much he admires and adores the 7th Hokage Naruto that has been damn near a father to him this entire time, there is a possibility as well that there's a huge plausible idea that you could imagine that the karma mark is going to continue to advance with powers and, you know, technological advancements. So when he tells Boruto again, I'm gonna send you the way of the 7th, it's probably that he sent the 7th somewhere that he can't return from. Now, we know that they're able to jump dimensions and things like that, so it could just be as simple as that he just grabbed Naruto, went to another dimension, dropped him there, and considering Sasuke doesn't have the capabilities of jumping over to different dimensions, and Boruto possibly at that particular point doesn't have the, you know, idea of how to use the karma to jump dimensions either, that he could have just did that, or it could have been something else entirely, because the way he said it as if it was a definite thing that there's no way to get the 7th back. So it's kind of like either, again, there's no way to find him in another dimension, or there's even more advancements to the karma mark, which kind of adds into everything else I've been saying about the possibilities, endless possibilities at that, of what the karma mark is capable of. And again, it's all technology. Like, they're growing horns out of their head, god damn it. They're rewriting personalities. This shit is insane. It's kind of crazy to think about too, because again, like I keep on saying, mirroring Naruto, a reboot of Naruto, just also a sequel at the same time. You know how basically karma is essentially like, you know, a mark that holds data, basically holds a person inside of there. Like with Boruto, it's Momoshiki that is waiting and hoping for that thing to grow so he could pop out and basically take control of Boruto's body. If it's kind of mirroring something from Naruto, that was what Orochimaru was doing, right? That's what he was doing when he put the mark on Sasuke and he was trying to take over his body. He tried it with Itachi. Itachi was like, fam, I'm the wrong one to fuck with that shit, fam. It ain't happening. But at the very least with Sasuke, it was like time after time. Like he kept on, you know, Orochimaru, he escaped death multiple times by continuing to come back. Hell, now that I think about it, the dude is still around nowadays. But ultimately, he was essentially, you know, marked on Sasuke to return. And one of the big things, which is kind of cool as well, that it also is somewhat mirroring, just again in its own sense, is the fact that, remember, there's more than just a camaraderie between Boruto and Kawaki. Like, with Naruto and Sasuke, eventually it turned into like, yo, they were brothers, especially with all the extra stuff that came later. But the luxury that Boruto and Kawaki as a relationship have is that there's a lot of foundation, a lot of building. We've seen so much slice of life moments of them just being together that it really makes you look at them like, no, they're really like brothers. Now, think back to Itachi. One of the things that Itachi, as Sasuke's brother, that he vowed to do, he wanted to do, and ultimately he was successful of doing, was ridding Sasuke of that cursed mark on him that had Orochimaru in it. In their big battle, he essentially lured Orochimaru out and was able to take him out once and for all. The cool thing of mirroring that, in a sense, is Boruto and Kawaki going at it, is a brother trying to help another brother remove that mark that holds that data of somebody that's going to rewrite him. So essentially Kawaki, if that's one of his motives at that particular point, and things haven't drastically changed where he's just trying to kill Boruto or vice versa, it could be similar to Itachi. Who knows if Kawaki eventually kind of bamboozles all of us and he goes on an Itachi type of vibe and type of mode where basically like he's looking like the bad guy and all that stuff, but it's really that he's gonna do by any means necessary to rid his brother Boruto of that mark, just like Itachi did with Sasuke. How he tricked everybody, you know. Obviously it was a lot deeper with Itachi, and like it was this whole Anbu shit, the leaf and all of that jazz, but he tricked Sasuke to the bitter end of, yo, I want your eyes, I'm going after you, just so he could get rid of that mark. Maybe the same could be done with Kawaki and Boruto, and essentially it would be done if he's trying to get rid of that mark from his brother. Another cool, I guess, mirroring Easter egg and overall just awesome shit that the Boruto story could be doing, with Kawaki blowing up the motherboard on Boruto's hand that houses Momoshiki. That's kind of crazy to think about, and at the same time, it's very, very possible. But again, I want to make it clear, I am not comparing Kawaki and Itachi in terms of character. Itachi was a beast in and of himself, okay? Itachi is a legend. Itachi, people put him, they take him out of Naruto and put him in their top list of characters and shit like that. I'm not saying Kawaki and Itachi are the same, although Kawaki's an awesome character. I'm not going to sleep on him neither. What I am saying is that he could potentially be holding that role, which is epic in and of itself. And while we're in all of this, there's another crazy theory that I want to throw into all of this. It's less fact-based and more so a possibility, because the other stuff is backed by a lot of facts. There's huge possibilities based on everything we've seen thus far and how it just makes sense in general for them to lose their limbs, having one final clash that'll basically get rid of the karma mark. However, what if there's a possibility, just a smidge, that there will not be any time skip at all? What if what we're seeing in the beginning of this Boruto story with them being older and whatnot is not actually a time skip and actually current Boruto and Kawaki? Now you're probably thinking, yo, you're a madman. Okay, now you're talking nonsense. How they gonna look like that and no time has passed? Now you tripping, Fornev. Now you bugging the hell out. Let me explain. Alien technology known as karma. What if there's a possibility that the karma either being reprogrammed or something happening there to basically kind of put a wedge and a damper on Momoshiki's plans and Ishiki's plans regarding, you know, the karma marks? What if there's a possibility that it's actually the karma marks that are making their bodies look aged up? So basically their bodies are aging faster than they normally would due to the karma marks. What if this is actually just a few weeks at best following the current timeline of where we're at in the manga right now as of the recording this video, chapter 60 or 61 if I'm not mistaken? What if this is only a few weeks to a few months at best after that and there hasn't been any time skip to begin with? Again, this is a little less plausible, but that's also a possibility as well, considering the fact that a time skip right now, while it would make sense in terms of like, hey, that's what's been foreshadowed and whatnot, at the same time, considering one of the big key elements, the villain that we have right now, Code, as well as this person Ada, this person, you know, Damon, like these people are here and now. Are they gonna wait a year or two for Boruto and Kawaki to age up? Again, a lot of things can happen between now and that time skip, but there's a possibility there is no time skip and Boruto and Kawaki just are aged up a bit due to the karma. I mean, this is alien technology beyond our comprehension that is able to rewrite personalities. It's not far-fetched to think that, oh, it could age up their bodies a little bit, considering they could freaking grow horns out of their head based on this technology as well. And if I'm kind of throwing you off and you're like, I don't quite understand, Fornev, just think, I don't know, Gon and Hunter x Hunter when he lost his freaking mind in the Neferpito situation. Something along the lines of that, just probably not as epic and muscular as it. But yeah, people, I'm very, very curious how you think the final fight in Boruto and how Naruto Next Generation, Naruto Next Generations is going to wrap up with the final bout, how the karma mark is going to be eradicated once and for all so that there's no longer a possibility of return for Momoshiki and possibly even Ishiki Osusuki, because I'm still not going to throw the idea completely away that he can't return via Kawaki at some given point, or the possibility won't be lingering considering he was in there to damn near 80% of rewriting his body and his composition. Do you think that it also lines up kind of perfectly regarding the whole message of, you know, technology and what it means to our lives, how it started from, again, the city behind us, the technological advancements, the artificial jutsu, how Kara members are all artificial beings and cyborgs, how karma itself seemingly is technology? And do you think there's a possibility that there is no time skip, that Boruto and Kawaki are just aged up because of possibly the karma mark? And your overall thoughts and expectations on how the Boruto Naruto Next Generation series is going to wrap up at the end after that final fight between Boruto and Kawaki. Do you think that is actually going to be the end, or there's going to be more story even after that? But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy! Have an awesome day. Peace in. And yeah, Boruto versus Kawaki, the inevitable fight. It's gonna happen, and I think that this is how they're gonna finally get rid of karma once and for all. It's gonna be very poetic in a way, also mirroring Naruto versus Sasuke, just like the Boruto story has done damn near all along, kind of mirroring Naruto and even Naruto Shippuden to a certain degree. Have an awesome one. What I know